ゆうくんにはよそ見してほしくないの。
予備選挙を通過したんです。しかも
不透明な予算をすんなり。
深夜に東雲候補と密会です。
Students in the Food Research Club fight back when their club is threatened. Hello and welcome back to our channel iSky. Today we are going to do a recap of the anime series called Love, Election, and Chocolate. Episode 5, Mafuyu and Yuuki are in the club room with Chisato. They do their comedy love act and get down to business. Chisato seems to be concerned about making Mafuyu do the speech but is like, peace out Yuuki. So Yuuki sets to work making all his delicious rolls and Mafuyu starts writing Yuuki's speech. Only she seems to have 2 Word documents opened and is writing on the side a love story between her and Yuuki. Yuuki and Mafuyu start up a natural conversation about how Mafuyu has to pay back Chisato for all she has done for her. See, Mafuyu was a sick girl and missed a year of school due to surgery. This means that when she returned to school she was a year older than all her classmates, which means bad news city in Japan. Chisato was the only one who treated her like an equal, thus she must repay the debt. Yuuki smiles and continues to work on his roles. Mafuyu tells Yuuki she wants him and Chisato to be together and Yuuki says he sees Chisato in his own way. Yum comes in to talk about Yuuki's cream, which makes both parties uncomfortable. Mizuki comes in to flirt with Yuuki but quickly leaves when Mafuyu appears. Nozomi comes in just to be annoying and to ask to eat the rolls that Yuuki is having a hard time making. Isara comes on by to gives the viewers the daily dose of this school really sucks. Every candidate for the student council presidency is assigned a financial aid student to be their slave. Amazing, right? Isara and Yuuki are happy she got assigned to him until Mafuyu gets a little jealous or protective. Yuuki is also interviewed by some random reporter girl, but everyone is more focused on getting his name pronounced wrong than getting the facts straight. The day of the primary election finally arrives and it is more like an anime convention, with colorful booths and character goods. Chisato has allowed her friends to sell their figurines and mangas at their booth. When the doors first open, everyone runs to the main candidates' booths to get their character goods, including AI and Kim. Chisato notices that the main booths have really good goods. Yuuki notices that he forgot his speech and Mafuyu runs to go print out another one.
それじゃあみんな頑張っていくわよ。ゆうちゃんこと大島ゆうきをお願いする。
Being the special person she is, she accidentally prints out her love story involving her and Yuuki. She puts it in her bag to destroy later. As the crowd files in, people start making their way over to the snack club's booth. They pass out yaoi sticks and cake rolls. AI, Ki, and Chisato randomly show up dressed up as Madoka characters so they can charge more for cakes, rolls, and photo tickets. Yum then shows up dressed up as a Madoka character and wants to do yaoi scenes with Yuuki so the yaoi fangirls will support them. After all that insanity, Mafuyu shows up and Yuuki goes to the waiting area to make his speech. Mafuyu is acting a bit off, but Chisato is too busy pretending not to be in love with Yuuki. Yuuki makes it to the waiting area where Moheiji is also waiting to make a speech. Moheiji says that Yuuki should support him after the primaries as they have the same goal of beating Satsuki. Yuuki is insults that Moheiji thinks he won't get past the primary. As Yuuki gets ready to make his speech, Mafuyu notices that she gave Yuuki the love story and not the speech. Episode 6, Mafuyu panics as it is announced that Yuuki will be presenting his speech next. She runs to give him the proper copy of the script, but she either passes out or has an ill moment because she hits the ground. Turns out that Yuuki wasn't next as it was Moheiji's turn. Moheiji goes up and makes his grand speech, which is mainly to point out that they are trying to overthrow the current administration and to do that they can't vote in Satsuki as she should have had better control of the budget. As Moheiji exits the stage, he tries to talk to Yuuki, but he is too pissed to listen. Satsuki takes the stage to give her speech as Mafuyu wakes up and dramatically runs to give Yuuki his correct speech. Satsuki basically says there is more than meets the eye and that she is going to plan for the long term. Yuuki takes the time to read the first lines of his speech and he realizes it is a love letter from Mafuyu. But still he leaves to walk on stage with said papers as Mafuyu barely misses him. Yuuki takes the stage and nearly breaks his nose as he falls. The papers scatter and Yuuki bleeds all over the place. People watch in shock as Yuuki is like, laugh people. He smears around the blood and gives a random speech how he is fighting to protect his club and if other people are going through that to vote for him. Afterwards, Yuuki passes out and doesn't remember what he said. Mafuyu is able to recover her love story and all is well in the world. As Yuuki comes to the random reporter from the other day comes on in the club room and says he will be broadcasting from their room. Everyone on campus watches as the main reporter for the school broadcasts all the updates and whatnot of the votes. Isara is there to cheer on Yuuki and everyone else takes turns being nervous and very knowledge on how many votes Yuuki will need to move on in the real election. There is also a concern that as a fourth candidate receives enough votes, Yuuki won't have a chance as there will be 2 independent. It is a lot of nail biting and silly reporting going on as everyone watches all the updates and crunches numbers. Soon the final results are in. Yuuki has enough votes to move on and the fourth candidate barely lost. The weird friends of Chisato make the moment special, giving her some of the money they made from selling mangas and figurines. Elsewhere in the school, Yakumo slightly worries as someone made sure the fourth candidate got a lot of votes. Episode 7. Yuuki and Chisato bid slave Asara and Mifuyu goodnight. Chisato asks if she and Yuuki can stop by the convenience store. They do, and they have a quiet moment in one of their rooms where Yuuki eats half the bar and Chisato gives the other half to a blurred-out picture on a desk. The next day, the entire snack club, Slave Asara, and Yakumo all come to the club room to celebrate Yuuki's win. After Yaes, Yakumo breaks down the numbers for the entire group. While it might be obvious Yuuki only got 600 votes, Yakumo shows that Yuuki's 600 votes are real while Satsuki and Moheiji don't have all those votes locked in. Out of 6,000 students, there are 3,000 votes really up for grabs. Yuuki needs to be like Satsuki and proclaim himself a revolutionary too, only he will be believed as he is not backed up by a major party. Everyone sets to work on various tasks.
仕事できる男は違うって感じ。そこで一発ビシッと決め台詞が欲しい。
Yuuki ends up cooking with slave Asara, who talks about how boys cooking makes her all wet, or would be an excellent trait in a husband. Yuuki cuts his finger and slave Asara sucks out the blood because that is sexy. When several people catch them together, Asara explains that is how she helps her brothers, and Chisato has a mini breakdown in her head. She sees a young boy and a chocolate bar being hit by a truck. People quickly get back to work and all seems well. Later, Yuuki tries to take a relaxing hot spring bath alone when Chisato enters. They sit there all awkward like for a while until Chisato asks why Yuuki isn't touching her. Things get more awkward, but thankfully Yume enters the bath and a sad Chisato is forced to flee. He sees Satsuki and Ms. Heizuki arguing over some family issue. Yuuki apologizes for interrupting a family moment, but Ms. Heizuki teases him and walks away. Satsuki senses something is up and Yuuki is like, haha, everyone is crazy, and tries to run away. Only he runs away to a room with Yume, as half the school houses the girls and the other half houses the boy. Yume is a heavy sleeper with 4,538,473 alarm clocks, but is sad he doesn't have his body pillow. He snuggles up to Yuuki and falls asleep on top of him. Later that night, Yuuki has to whisper scary things to Yume to get away to potty. After using said bathroom, Yuuki finds Ms. Heizuki outside and drunk like a skunk. After being basically forced, Yuuki takes Ms. Heizuki to where the girls are. Chisato overhears this nonsense but says nothing. Yuuki tries making it back to his side of the school, but some random girls catch him and it leads to insanity. Satsuki hears what is going on and is able to hide Yuuki in time. She decides that she believes Yuuki's story about her drunk sister but still wants some compensation for her helping Yuuki. She wants to know what kind of relationship Yuuki has with her sister and if they really did kiss. Yuuki says that they did kiss, but Ms. Heizuki was drunk. Satsuki decides that Yuuki is worried about what her sister does when she is drunk and that Yuuki can't help it. Satsuki takes off her jacket and sits on the bed looking suggestive.
ゆうくんのバカ。
Episode 8. Yuuki and Satsuki are talking very special like in Satsuki's room. Naturally, they are playing shogi. Yuuki doesn't seem to be good at the game and Satsuki smiles. Some other girls are still looking for Yuuki, so Satsuki gives her advice on what Yuuki can do, which leads to option 3, staying in the room with Satsuki and playing shogi more. Satsuki mentions Yuuki kissing Heizuki again and Yuuki gets uncomfortable. Satsuki talks about her sad family life and how one day Heizuki shut herself off from the family and moved out as soon as possible. Yuuki somehow gets roped into maybe finding out what happened to Heizuki. Satsuki leads Heizuki out of the girls' only rooms and decides she is going to find out what will happen if she kissed Yuuki. Heizuki chooses that moment to come around and act the fool. The moment ruined, Yuuki makes his way back to the club room where the topic is the pervert who broke into the girls' side of the school. Yuuki laughs it off, but Chisato seems upset. After a bit, Nozomi is like, we have worked enough, we should have fun. Everyone agrees with her and she has made a machine that will help them in their walk of courage around the school. Chisato ends up with Yuuki but gets upset when some other girls scream and worry Yuuki. She tries putting herself in danger so Yuuki can be worried for her, but it doesn't go so well. Yuuki asks why Chisato has been acting weird lately and she greatly implies she is in love with him. Yuuki also like her but not in a romantic way. Heizuki and slave Asara catch up and Chisato walks off upset. Yuuki gets to take a nice dip in the hot springs but finds a nearly drunk Heizuki afterwards. He tries asking about her family life, which prompts Heizuki to call Satsuki and challenge her to a shogi duel for Yuuki's hand and maybe information on why she left the family. As the game goes underway in Satsuki's room, Heizuki tells Yuuki that Satsuki's mom was the mistress and married their father after her mom died. Heizuki smiles and says it is a good thing that Satsuki was born afterwards because being a mistress child would suck. Through her tears, Satsuki continues playing the game without a board and Heizuki fires back. Heizuki decides to get a drunk and tell Yuuki a story while Satsuki calms down. Heizuki had gotten an injury as a child and might have needed a blood transfusion.
外が騒いだだけよ。実際は縫っただけ。私は家を出たの。
But it turns out her blood type was rare or something, and the person she matched was Satsuki's mother. Satsuki and Heizuki share the same mother, and Heizuki is mistress's child. Yeah, apparently the dad was a real asshole and brought home the Heizuki baby to make the family happy and screw the wife. Heizuki wonders if her mom hated her but can only remember happy times. Heizuki was told the truth when she was a teenager, and suddenly her happy family mentally collapsed. She thought it was about with her stepmother and half-sister, but the idea that everyone was truly related and kept it from her was too much. If she accepted that everyone was related by blood and they could have a happy family, that would mean her mother would mean nothing, and how sad would that be? So Heizuki chooses to be upset and bitter. Satsuki starts crying and hugs her older sister. It is a sad moment, but maybe a happy one too. Elsewhere on campus, Yakumo is told about Yuuki's adventures in Satsuki's room. The subordinates seem worried about it, but Yakumo doesn't think that Satsuki will use this against Yuuki, and that they should focus their attention on other things. And that's all for today, guys. If you liked the recap and want more summaries like this, consider subscribing to our channel.